live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Toe the Line with me, George Glinsky. Delighted today, starting off with our BYB London series with Mr. Stanley Wilson out of the ring for 4 years. He returns on October the 16th against former BKB World Heavyweight Champion, Jody Meikle. Stanley, how are we doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
No.
I'll be better on the 17th.
Absolutely no doubt. I mean, 4 years out of the ring. It was last time we saw it was against Craig Gamer in the Indigo, September 2018. It's a long time
I
ago.
know. I didn't realise until we were speaking earlier that it was actually 4 years ago.
Mm.
That is a long time.
And I mean, you kind of it was a conclusive finish for you. You gave your hat to Craig. It was a decision that you'd made, and you
I
walked
was done.
away.
I'd had enough, and I had an interview the other day, and they asked why, and I just didn't enjoy it anymore.
Mm.
It for me, fighting, whether it be BKB, BYB, MMA, whatever, it was always because I enjoyed it.
Mm.
It weren't nothing to do because I earned a few quid out of it. It was always because I enjoyed it, and I didn't enjoy it. So I mean, if you're thinking about it, do it.
Mm.
I think Dana White used to say, if you're thinking about retiring, retire.
Mm.
So I did, and then I am retired.
But did it feel like the end? You know, when you walked away that night, away from the Indigo, you'd had that fantastic fight with Craig Gamer. Did it feel like that's right? That's the time to step away.
No, because I would have liked the better result.
Mm.
To be fair, I think if I'd have won the fight, I don't think we'd be having this conversation now.
Mm.
So, like, in the back of my, I've still got a little bit of unfinished business.
Mm.
Um, I, I'm a true believer of never say never. So I could never sit there and say I would have never fought again.
Mm.
But in my head at the time, I was done. I weren't even giving it a second thought at that time.
Mm.
Like I say, it was only until 6, 7 weeks ago I was still happily retired.
Yeah.
So
What changed then? What made you want to?
so I I fought a guy in MMA. It was about 8 years ago. Called Ben Ingham. He actually dropped me a message on Facebook to see if I could get him in contact with Jim Freeman because he was interested in fighting. So I said, yeah, not a problem. I'll put you in contact, blah, blah, blah. And then the conversation come about, why don't we fight?
Mm.
So I thought, do you know what? And then he started going on, because I knocked him out. It was a lucky punch.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but if you're sat there for 8 years and then decide it was a lucky punch, I mean, if you'd done it eight years ago, straight after, oh, that was a lucky punch, then so I was matched with him for the BYB show, and he's been pulled out. I believe it's to do with his ticket sales. I don't believe he's injured. Um, so then they put me in with this unknown guy called Jody Meikle. I think he won a world title in some organisation not so long ago. But yeah, no, I mean Jody's a cool guy. Jody messaged me straight away and said, "Look, I've been offered the fight. I'm going to take the fight. It sucks, blah 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 blah." And me and Jody, we have a little bit of banter on Facebook. I'm actually looking forward to getting in with him. I wouldn't have picked Jody for my first fight back
Yeah.
if I'm being totally honest. I think he is a class act, but it is what it is at the end of the day. When you're 5'6" from 3/4 and a
Often three
heavyweight,
quarters.
you're very limited to who's out there for you to fight.
Yeah.
um, but I still say I'm the best heavyweight in the world at 5'6".
Yeah.
I don't think there's another heavyweight at 5'6" that'll beat me.
I can't think of one, so I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that. But you mentioned that it wasn't your first choice. It isn't something that you thought about taking for your first fight back. But was there any hesitation when you were given that call, the opportunity to fight?
No, no, and believe it or not, the week before I was at the O2 for the BKB show, and obviously Jody fought Carl Hobley,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my son there with me, and I said, if it all goes well on the 16th, I may end up fighting one of these two in 2 or 3 fights down the line, because obviously it was a British title fight, wasn't it? So, I mean, like I say, there's not a lot I can do about it. I mean, Jim said, look, we've got Jody, he's ready, he's keen to go, and it'll be a good test for me to see where I am. It'll definitely test to see if I've still got the heart for the sport, because Jody won't go anywhere.
Nah.
Jody's pretty much like myself. We don't like to move too far, so I think it's going to be. We could fight in a telephone box. I think me and Jody. We're not your flash. Want to skip around the ring and throw 2 punches. We'll sit there and just trade shots. So yeah, I think it'll be good.
What sort of threats does he pose? I mean, you've mentioned that he's a very good fighter, very experienced, a good gloved record. He had an extensive amateur career as well. What sort of threats does he pose for you?
Well, he's going to be punching him in the head, so that's a threat. With Jody's, again, he's not a flash fighter, but he does the basics very well. And I've always said basics wins fights. If you can throw a good 1-2, you'll win 90% of fights you have. And that's what you get from Jody. I mean, I haven't watched much of Jody. I'll be honest. I'm not one for looking up and seeing, like, watching previous fights, because, quite frankly, I haven't got the time.
Yeah.
And I could watch 10 fights of Jody, and then he could turn out and do something totally different, and then I'm buggered. So I just don't bother. He looked impressive against Carl. I thought if he'd done a little bit more work against Carl, he could have took the fight. But he's got that punch that sort of comes out of nowhere. I mean, Carl, he dropped Carl. I think it was in the 4th or the 5th. It was the 5th. And the punch come out of nowhere. I mean, it was one of them. What's he doing on the floor? But I've also got traits that could upset him. I mean, he's fighting a midget. All jokes aside, but has he ever had to punch down?
No. He's not a big heavyweight either. So it is.
No. Well, when he was boxing gloved, what weight was he at there?
Super middleweight, light heavyweight. He was never fought. I don't think he ever fought heavyweight until BKB. I think I'm correct in saying that. So he was
right. Okay.
Fighter.
Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Fair play to you. You can't be that bad in your first fight and you become a world champion. You're talking Lomachenko skills there, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm sure Lomachenko wouldn't be offended by that comparison at all.
No, I actually think that Jody's a little bit better looking than Lomachenko as well.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
But no, I'm just looking forward to getting in and putting on a show. I mean, it's good because I still go to the shows and I still get stopped and asked by fans that I don't even know. Are you fighting again? Are you doing this? I keep saying, nah. But now I'm like, yeah. Tickets are 35 quid. Do you want one?
Yeah.
So it's good. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait just to get in now and feel the buzz. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different, obviously, with the Trigon.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll get it.
You've got a mixed martial arts background. You've had Muay Thai fights. You know the clinch well. You know that sort of that tight, compact area. So this is a problem for you. This new style.
No, I mean, to be fair, I think Jody's neck's a little bit too high for me to clinch. So I mean, it might just be Jody leaning on me.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, right, stay here for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. We'll go mad for the last 10 seconds. All right, and then we'll do the same in the next round. But that was the other thing. Obviously, I'm going from 2 minutes to 3 minute rounds.
Yeah.
I didn't find that out until last week.
Oh.
So, yeah, Jim kind of he's been a bit vague with the rules. Yeah, I found that out at the BKB show,
Yeah.
which was obviously 3 weeks ago. Um, but yeah, so I've been doing 2 minute rounds to be told that it's now 3 minute rounds. But I mean, we adapt and overcome, don't we? So
Definitely, definitely. So in terms of training, obviously you've been out of competition for 4 years. I assume you've been out of training for the majority of that. How are you? How are you
I've
feel?
been out of training for 4.5 years.
How are you feeling? I mean, it's a long time to not be
I'll
training
be honest
regularly.
with you, I'm very sore.
Mm,
But what I'm hoping is if I can, not even if I can get the win here in October, but if I can put on a fight, a decent fight, and get back to the BKB 2 minutes in the square.
yeah,
Um, so I mean that's the goal. I mean, as much as BYB I think is going to take off,
mm,
my art's with BKB.
of course.
Um, so obviously that's the only company that I've fought for. I've worked from backstage, and I think the term was fight liaison officer.
Yeah, so
But yeah, so that's the end goal is to get back on the BKB shows. Um, I don't think I'll be staying at heavyweight though.
yeah,
If I get the chance, and you and Joe say, "You right, we'll put you on a show," then I will cut down. I'll try and cut back down to the 15 stone, which is cruiser.
I think it might be light heavyweight now. The divisions have
Light
changed, but
heavyweight, is it?
you are, yeah, it's about around the sort of light heavyweight cruiser limit. Yeah,
Yeah. So that'll be the target, but we'll see. We have to get this one out the way first.
definitely. Definitely. So you mentioned goals very briefly there, but this is, this isn't a one and done. You want to continue and fight on.
I say that now.
Yeah.
Again, ask me on the 17th how I feel. Um, but yeah, I mean, I haven't come back just to have this one. I'd like to have another run at it, just to see if I can, just see if I could, because I mean, it's hard just be sitting there thinking, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that, knowing that I didn't give it a shot. So I mean, I just want to try and see where I am with that.
Definitely. And another reason that you're returning, just before we go into sponsors and things, fighting for a very important cause. A good friend of yours recently passed away.
Yes,
Just a little bit about that.
yes. So Billy, Billy was a very very avid MMA fan.
Mm.
I mean, before that, me and Billy were friends of the family for 20 years. And he always said to me, "You lazy shit, if you could get down to middleweight, we would clean up,
Yeah.
i.e., so Billy would be there with me." Um, and I did just everything I did. He always supported me. If I needed new gloves, I'd say to her, "I need to go and buy a new pair of gloves." And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, Amazon are knocking at my door with a new pair of gloves. The same with the gum shield. I I bought a gum shield. I think it was 99p out of Sports Direct. And his office was across the road. So I've gone to his office to mould it. And he was like, what's that? I said, oh, it's a gum shield. He took it off me, threw it in the bin, and ordered me a proper fitted gum shield.
Yeah.
There's just little things like that. I mean, the man had a heart of gold. He'd do anything for anyone.
Mm.
So I just want to dedicate this fight to him, his wife Emma, his kids, his brothers and sisters, his mum and dad. This fight would be for Billy and you. So a lot of his family are coming to the fight as well. So that'll be nice to have them there whilst I'm doing it.
Definitely, definitely. So just finishing off sponsors and thanks. I understand you've picked up a few people that are going to be helping you on the way.
Yeah, I've had to write this down.
Yeah, we
So
always do.
to Lee Clark at CCC Cladding, Lee's another firm that's been with me for years. Always checking in. Munty's maintenance. Yeah, Munty's one of my very close pals. Um, I've got gutter clean and then with Nick Page. Again, Nick does my strength and conditioning for me. I've got RPS, which is Rail Planning Services. That was Sean's company.
Mhm.
Sean, which is Billy's brother. Bright Sparks, Billy Thompson, electricity. Gordon Runham, plumbing and heating, and Gold Seal. So I'd just like to thank everyone involved in them companies. Because without you guys, I couldn't do what I want to do.
Well, we are, I think, I want to say 3 weeks away, if my maths serve me
I
right.
think was it not 3 weeks yesterday?
I think it was 3 weeks yesterday. We're on 3 weeks, 2 days ago. It's Monday today now. So
Yeah,
not
it's a
long to
Sunday
go.
show, George.
Sunday show. It's a Sunday show.
Yeah.
16th, of course it is, because Deontay Wilder's on the Saturday. That's why I can't be there. But regardless,
Are
2
you
weeks to
going
go.
to the States?
No, unfortunately not. We haven't got the budget like that at the Daily Express. I'm staying at home and covering it. But regardless, I am covering that. So unfortunately, I won't be at this show. But listen, man, perfect interview. Great speaking to you. It's been a long time in the making. Unfortunately, we've never crossed paths before. So really appreciate your time and the best of
No,
luck.
not a problem.
16th of October.
Thank you very much, George, and I look forward to speaking to you after.
Definitely, mate. Speak to you in a bit.
Cheers, pal.